Mate, how are you? Okay.
Wow. This is quite something, Mark. Because there's a picture over there that's signed by the whole team. Euro 2016 in France.
Yeah.
How big of an achievement was that for that Welsh camp? And that message on that board, together stronger, kind of.
Yeah, it was born from the journey, obviously, and with what everybody had gone through, and it's the message together stronger that in 2025 it's still a focal point of the Welsh FA, and something that the players even now, and Craig in particular, he finishes every meeting with that slogan and constantly reminding the players about it, and it means a lot to the players and to the staff.
So then of course you're taken in with Sam, circumstances happen, and Gareth takes over in an interim period initially. What's that process like for you, and did you see something in Gareth where you thought we could really achieve something?
The initial period and the interims for any sort of staff members is obviously uncertain because you don't know exactly what's going to happen. So Gareth had the autumn period as an interim, but then obviously results dictated that they were to offer him the job. But even in the short term, you can tell that he's an exceptional manager. His detail around tactical, technical is incredible. His personable skills, his man management, I think, are up there with the best in the world. And that was evident. The time he had for everybody in the camp, and you knew that he was going to. I felt that he was going to be exceptional, and it turned out that way. In the journey that we all went on.
Well, you talk about there the personability, the man management is exceptional. It's world class. The minute we stepped into this room, I see Weetabix with your name on it. I see a personalised letter from Gareth to you, your family. I see mementos for your 50th cap, your 100th cap. I see so much that is seemingly dedicated to his staff that he takes such importance on. Was that value shared not just around the camp of players, but around you as a group of staff?
Oh yeah, 100%.
How important is that? What difference does that make for you?
Well, it just gives you an unbelievable feeling as a staff member that the manager is prepared to go to those type of lengths to say thank you to your children and to your wife, to sort of recognise journeys that you've been on, helping him and supporting him. So it's everything really, because that extra just makes you have that extra special feeling. That he's thinking, about not just tactical situations, but what it means for us to be away in tournaments and the family, and that's what absolutely sets him apart.
Is there Weetabix in that box?
There actually are Weetabix in there.
You ever been tempted to crack it open?
No, that's it. They're done forever in the frame.
Which memento stands out for you? Is there a moment under Gareth that you look at and go, that was truly special? Well,
I think the most publicised one would have been the first penalty shootout England had ever won, which is that detail there against Colombia in Russia. The sort of famous water bottle with all the information on it. That water bottle probably culminates in 18 months' work, which was organised by Gareth. He wanted a sort of detailed investigation into penalties in sport, not just in football.
Go back to the beginning of that process then for me. How does a conversation like that start? And talk me through your influence in that, because there's psychology behind it. You're drawing on your experience of penalty shootouts. You're clearly talking to the goalkeepers that you have at your disposal as well. There's so much detail that goes into making something like that happen.
Yeah, I could speak to you now a 30-minute documentary
Feel free.
on the detail around. First of all, it was personal to Gareth because of 1996, and you know, when he missed the penalty.
Was that something that he felt?
Yeah. Well, you know, you see all the world now, the goalkeeper goes and gets the ball, for example, and gives it to his teammate. That's Gareth Southgate's idea, because he was saying when he walked up to take the penalty against Germany, the football had ended up, you know, somewhere to the side. So not only did he have to then go and get the football, then he had to go and walk, and he just felt, you know, that whole thing, the pressure was mounting more and more. So he wanted Jordan Pickford to get the football no matter where it was and present it to, and that type of detail you can only get from.
What impact does that have? Does that handing over of the football give the player receiving the football that confidence, as in, come on, you've got this, you take it in your stride?
It's just
that little bit.
It's just support from a teammate. You know, good luck, pat on the back, and settle down or whatever. Those little, you know, snippets of advice, the last bit, I think is really unbelievable. It's a small detail, but it's an incredible bit of foresight from Gareth, in my opinion, and so much so you see the whole world doing it now. Most of the detail that we did in that penalty shootout, the whole world have copied, in my opinion, and most of the detail around that penalty shootout was from Gareth. My part in it was obviously to study the opposition takers. Then I didn't want the goalkeepers to rely solely on me and the analysis team, so they also watched all the detail that we watched, and the three of them would have an opinion. We also have some other strategies at the time where, you know, laws of probability were applied by a professor in Spain, and once all that information was collated, we would then put the information, all we thought, on the water bottle.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So in terms of all that data, in terms of all that analysis, that's all well and good, but you also need the buy-in. You also need to have the characters who are able to look at it and not just turn around and go, I'm a keeper, I'm a goalkeeper, I'm an England international.
Yeah.
They've got to be willing to learn. So I'm going to ask you twofold. A, what did that do for your brain, your stimulus? Because you clearly get excited by goalkeeping know-how, that nuances that you think you can get the edge. You see the smile on your face when you start thinking what's coming next, how I can think out of the box, how we can develop, how we can succeed. So what does that do for you as a coach? And then secondly, what does that do and what does that show about the goalkeepers you have in that England camp? Because they also need to buy into that process and realise the effects of what they could achieve with something like that.
Yeah, I think the buy-in was quite simple because they knew the whole process was world leading, and the amount of work, because this process didn't just start in Russia, it was 1 year before where they were getting introduced into workshops, showing them around different sports across the world that have penalty shootouts. Like, for example, the first water bottle ever, I think, was the British hockey team. So that type of detail, you know, the buy-in was straight away because they could see the work going into it. That information made us all feel ultra confident. But then my next layer was to look at dive strategy of the goalkeepers. Because
that doesn't guarantee anything at the same time.
That information, you could know every single time where a player was going to put the ball. But if your dive strategy or your tactical detail isn't right on the penalty, I still don't think you'll make the save. So we had a slight difference of detail between the three of them, and then it's my job to convince them that in all my experience, this technical detail will give you the best chance of making the save.
When it came off, how good did you feel?
Yeah, it's incredible. It's an unbelievable feeling because all the work, you know, from so many people, brilliant work, the analysis department at the FA, superb work, and then you get your rewards. And one of my biggest disappointments, if I'm being brutally honest, was the final against Italy, because we did the same process, exactly the same, and Jordan Pickford made 2 saves in that shootout. And a lot of people probably won't remember that, but a goalkeeper to make 2 saves and you lose, it's quite unusual. But we had a difference of opinion on Jorginho, but I managed to convince him which way to dive. And thankfully, yeah, I was right. But those moments.
Did you give him the old, I told you so?
The only thing I could offer him was, I've been in this game longer than him, and my gut feeling was that he needed to dive right for Jorginho, and he was adamant it's dive left. But he sort of, he agreed, and he dived right and made an incredible action and an incredible save.
Where does Jordan rank for you? Because I know you've worked with the likes of Joe Hart, who is, I mean, we talked a little bit earlier on. There's a lot of misinformation in goalkeeping, and there can be a lot of things that aren't actually best practice for a lot of people. Someone like Joe Hart, now working in kind of mainstream media, is able to portray certain messages that are helpful for the next generation of keepers. You've worked with Jordan, you've worked with the Joe Harts of this world, you've worked with the likes of Wayne Hennessy as being brilliant for you. How do you look at the goalkeepers that you've worked with, and who really stands out for you?
They're exceptional goalkeepers to get to the level they all have and the level they played at internationally, and a massive amount of caps that those goalkeepers have is incredible. I think Joe working in mainstream TV now is brilliant for goalkeeping, because he gives a goalkeeping insight, having lived it his entire life, and I think he's excellent at it. Jordan Pickford, I was with Jordan for 68 of his caps for England, and for me he was exceptional. He made one technical error in 68 games, which, I used to shout that from the rooftops, because the pressure the England goalkeepers are under is extreme, and for me, and looking at all the detail, to make one technical error in 68 games was incredible. Yeah.
Well, you look at, I mean, you were born into goalkeeping through your father. Kit, one of your sons, is also now goalkeeping. He's currently out on loan. How's he getting on? You see a bit yourself in him. Are you able to guide him in the way, or do you try and take away that kind of fatherly pressure sometimes?
I just, it's nothing to do with being his dad when it comes to goalkeeping. I just tell him what my eyes see, and I'll be brutally honest with him, and he knows that. He's got an unbelievable opportunity that Connors Key have given him this year. I think it's a superb first loan for any young goalkeeper to get into the Welsh Premiership, because it's proper football, and they have to deal with a lot of things.
How many bodies are you competing from a corner, for example? Because in that league, no disrespect to it.
Set plays are. It's gone full circle now. Not only in the Welsh Premiership, I think in the Premiership, long throws, for example, set plays are even more fashionable. And certainly in the Welsh Premiership, most teams, when they get an attacking corner, there's a minimum of 6 players in the 6-yard box. So for young goalkeepers, it gives you a different problem to deal with. And any goalkeeper will tell you, when you have 6 attackers in the 6-yard box, well, in my setup, the way I would want to defend that corner, I would have 6 players marking those 6 players, plus 2 zonal players. So all of a sudden you've got 14 players and a goalkeeper all in the 6-yard box, and the ball coming under the crossbar.
And as a 19-year-old lad, those are the kind of learning curves, but you're not going to get them in 21s.
You're not, and those are the decisions, the feeling that pressure of standing under the crossbar in those situations is what's absolutely vital for a young goalkeeper.
And what you're telling me is we can get Tony Pulis back into management. If we're going
Tony was exceptional, and Big Sam, exceptional detail around set plays, and they won. Well, I was with Sam, and we would terrorise teams from our attacking set plays at West Ham. It was a brilliant weapon, and when you have that in your locker, why wouldn't you use it?
I used to love when Arsenal would come to Stoke City, and now it's interesting because now you talk about when teams are actually utilising long throws, crowding the goalkeeper. The likes of Arsenal are doing exactly that, and as we know, since your playing days, your now coaching career, the game is ever evolving. What is next for Martyn Margetson? I mean, I know that this craft is so vitally important to you. How do you eventually want to leave your legacy? Because 800 is up, and you're not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah,
How do you see this next period for you?
I want to get to 1,000 games in the Premiership, and you know, that my journey's been luckily enough in the Premiership and the Championship. So I'd love to get to 1,000 club games, and I want to get to 200 international games as a coach. I'm on 165 now, so if my maths are right, I've got 35 to go, which is in international football is minimum 3.5 years. So hopefully I can see that journey out with Wales. And then if I can get to 1,000 club games and 200 international coaching games, I'd be very happy.
And then we're going to need a bigger glass because there'll be plenty more bottle caps going in there. We'll have a
me,
big old celebration.
Marge,
it's been brilliant to catch up. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us, and we can't wait to see you smash 200 and 1,000 and beyond.
So, thank you very much. Cheers.